And I'm joined by Aaron Keylock, Mr. Jonnie Hodson of Silveroller. How you guys doing?
Good man. It feels good to hear the name Silveroller. I think this is the first time we've done this, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. First interview, yeah.
Oh,
And
cool.
and
I'm
you're
honoured.
celebrating with a glass of red.
Yeah, good man. Don't blame him, really. I'm going to crack one open as soon as I finish. I thought I'd look at least like a half professional.
Yeah, I felt a bit bad when I came on everyone else had water, but
It's no fun in water, mate.
Oh.
Uh, but yeah, as you mentioned there, you recently announced that the name change from the Keylock brand over to Silveroller. What prompted the name change, and what's the crack with that?
It's been a long time coming, I think. Originally when we got together, we kind of wanted a band name, but the people around us, um, I'd like to say advised, so it sounds like it was diplomatic, but um,
the
told us
hole's
that
a
we,
bit.
yeah, told us that we weren't going to have a band name. And then we haven't. Last thing we released was before lockdown. Um, Golden Robot Records are involved with us.
Nice.
Well, we're signed to Gold. I don't know why I said involved with us. We're signed to Golden Robot Records. Um, and then when stuff started to change in our camp, we kind of went, you know what, let's kind of do this how we really want to do it. And we were always kind of told it wouldn't work for us, and we don't believe that. So we'd rather kind of fail doing what we believe in than attempt to succeed doing something that we don't really. So yeah, we
I think,
wanted a band. Sorry, man, go on.
sorry, I think as well, as Johnny said, like we hadn't actually released anything since like before lockdown. And like we've had like member changes, and I think a lot of every band goes through the process of going through different people, finding the right people.
Yeah.
And I feel like we just got to the stage where it was kind of like, let's do something fresh. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a long time coming, a big build. And we got to the stage of having a record, finally got the people around us that were right. And it was just, let's go out and do something fresh. We're here now. Do you know what I mean? We're in the right place. So yeah, I think it's where we wanted to be. Do you know what I mean?
And it's kind of, we wanted something kind of unique to us as well, really, which was which wasn't easy, but we we got there, didn't we? Calling each other up and being like, "What about the 4 million air bubbles?" Like, no, all that kind of thing. So yeah, it feels good. It's nice to get it out finally.
Right. I think going back to the 4 million air bubbles, I think every band has gone through that, mate. I think every band is, especially the last few years, where all the good names seem to have seemingly have been taken. But then everyone comes around once in a while, you go, oh, that's cool. And then even bands that on paper, some of the best band names in the world on paper look ridiculous anyway. So you might as well just call it what you want.
It's
Yeah,
tough as well. It's like these days, like you got Google, you put a name in, and there's going to be like one band in like Delaware that plays.
yeah,
It's got it. It's like, so I think back in the day, it was probably a little bit more lenient with, do you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
we were saying, man, like, especially as well in the digital age, like, can you imagine a band now being called Free?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't fly. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got to have some kind of like. So we kind of set ourselves the task that I said I like the idea of something that doesn't mean anything, that kind of doesn't have a real connotation, like Aerosmith. And I said, right, okay, now we've got to think up an Aerosmith, and then you start kind of like splicing words together and that kind of thing, and then it does quickly get to the kind of realms of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'd watched an interview with Paul Rogers saying that Bad Company as a name came from a western in the early 70s, and I was like, oh, well, let's go and have a look at some of the western films from the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and see what we can find. And Silver kept coming up, like the Silver Load, Three Silver Bullets, Silver Rider, or like Silver kept kind of appearing. I was like, oh, that's quite cool. And I think Joe had said something about like a momentum word. Like, can we have like a make it sound
Forward.
like it's moving?
Yeah.
And then yeah, Silverollers, and then you kind of step back and everyone goes, oh, that sounds like a band. That sounds like a band name. And then you look into it and think, oh, no one's got it. And then, oh, right, okay, we'll
Yeah.
have that then.
Yeah. If you've got a good one where no one's got it, grab it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time. And then Aaron quite quickly points out you've got to be able to say it on stage. It's got to sound like a rock and roll band, and it's got to look cool on a bass drum skin.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Yeah, I
And then
definitely.
there's your design brief, and then yeah, we went through a few, didn't we? Like, that's terrible. Yeah,
We've all gone through those, mate. Definitely.
yeah, big time.
It's worse when you find the one you think they're cool, and then about 3 months later you go, "That is crap. What am I doing with this now?"
Yeah. Well, I suppose that was the good thing as well, is like we didn't have any kind of pressure to get it out straight away. And then when we kind of said to the label, listen, this is what we're doing, and fair play to the label, they could have just gone, actually, that's not what we signed up for. See you later. But they really threw their weight behind us. Honestly, I can't speak highly enough of the people over at Golden Robot. They
I
are
was going to
fabulous.
say how were Golden Robots with you, was like changing it up and everything. They were cool.
Amazing. Yeah. I think they saw a bunch of people who were kind of going, listen, this is what we believe in. And we've kind of hit them with that a couple of times, and kind of, we've stepped up to the plate and gone, this is what we believe in. And they've gone, right, cool, we'll back that then. And
I
they
think
are
the
fantastic. Yeah, they are.
really cool thing with Golden Robot is like you get like a lot of labels where obviously you're in the record industry and that's the business you're in and everybody understands that, which is not like normal business. But like the cool thing with Golden Robot is you got somebody that's been and done well in business outside of the record industry and then invested in music because they love music and they've got money to invest. And so there's that because they actually love it. And then there's also the side of not viewing it like every other label. So like they kind of see USPs in bands. They kind of, do you know what I mean? And things they can build on slightly different to other people, where it might become routine. And I just think they're very fresh thinking. It's a young team. It's really just nice people to work with.
That's what you want, that music side of it to be far more prominent than the business side, as much as that's got to come into it. But
it's kind of, it fits very much with us as well, like in the idea that it's like old school methods with modern thinking. Do you know what I mean? With like a modern approach. Like I know they're very keen on having young people. I think they were the first. I think they were the first label to have female CEOs of a subsidiary label that they had. That was like an all female run thing, which I thought was very cool. And it's one of the things that when we recorded, we said, listen, we want old school methods, modern technology. So I think the thinking in both camps kind of fits quite nicely together. So yeah, we are blessed to have their support. Yeah,
it's great, man. I mean, you were mentioning obviously recording there. Is it an EP that's coming out? Is it an album? What are you guys working on?
It's to be honest with you, it's kind of like too long for an EP and too short for a modern day album. You know, or like a single album now is like 23 songs or something like. But yeah,
well, yeah.
I don't know. Sorry.
It's funny, innit? Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not really kind of thinking of it as either, really. I think the initial idea was that we were going to record kind of 2 EPs to equal LP kind of thing. So the debut was going to come out in two steps, 2 halves, which at first I didn't really like the idea of. And then again, the people at the label said, well, actually, we've run the numbers and for emerging artists, people aren't listening to full records. This is how they're listening. And then when you get the kind of, when someone puts a pie chart in front of you and goes, actually, this is why we're doing this, you go, okay, we'll do the music, you do the business, So it's what is it, a six track record?
Tracks, yeah. But to be honest with you, like new music, new band, it's like it's kind of like it's almost, to be fair, a full length album from the 70s as well. But like it's weird these days. Like you can release like a series on Netflix with like 25 episodes and people will binge it in a night. But you release an album and people struggle to get through a track. Like everybody just picks a song and puts on a playlist. You know what I mean? So like I think you can kind of overdo it with the with over releasing like that.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to do like the old school mentality of like lots of little releases. Do you know what I mean? Like back in the day, you get like 4 releases from a band a year of like 6 tracks or 8 tracks on an album, and just loads of different albums.
Well, that's right, and like of course back in the day there was only so much space on vinyl, so like again back to Back Company, like their first record is only 8 songs long. I like that, you know what I mean? I'd rather do kind of small and often, and
Yeah. Well, I think when you put along that thing of an album, like the stereotype of an album has to be 12,
Right.
15 songs or whatever. You put, I mean, one of my favorite albums the last couple of years is Dirty Honey's record, and that's like 8 tracks long.
Yeah.
You know, perfect. That's what it's supposed to be. An
Yeah.
album is to
And
me.
it's a nice intro as well to a band. Do you know what I mean? I think Greta did that as well with their like debut. It was
Yeah.
kind of like an intro to Greta. Do you know what I mean? So
No, they did. And, you know, an album should be a snapshot of whatever you guys are creating in that period. It shouldn't be. It has to be a certain number of tracks, or it has to be so many minutes long. It should just be a
Yeah.
snapshot of what you're recording in that time.
Yeah. And in that as well, man, like one of the things that we'd said all along is we want to record this as live as we can.
Nice.
It's that kind of band. Do you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be. It's not Chinese democracy where there's a million layers. You know, it's a live rock and roll outfit that, and there obviously are layers in the modern way of recording. You can go and layer stuff. But there's certainly live vocals on there. There's all the drums, rhythm, and bass. That's all done live in the room together with me in the booth. You know, hollering away, and we wanted to get that. You know what I mean? And the amount of producers you speak to kind of look like you've got two heads, you know, trying to say, yeah, we want to do that. And you go, oh, you want to do that too? Yeah. And I say, yeah. But again, like with Gareth at Lounge Studios, man, he was a killer, wasn't he? You kind of just,
like, you know, it's your record, your name's going on it. Let's make the record you want to make.
Yeah, be it upon your head kind of thing.
You get a lot of producers where it's like, oh, you want to sound live? That's fine. We'll record it all separately. But I know how to make it sound like we were playing live, and it's like, let's just plug and play live then.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like same like when you get like, oh, plug straight into the computer, I can make it sound like a champ. So I'll just use my champ.
Get that real kind of live with the band vocal feel, but like, oh yeah, by singing live with the band. You know, yeah, it was good, and that was the kind of like, we want the old school method with the modern technology. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing is, you know, I get it. We, you know, flair wearing hippies and all the rest of it, but we don't want to sound. I don't want the record to sound like it was recorded in 1973. You know, I want it to sound like it was recorded, you know, when it was recorded, and to have the impact that it hopefully will have, and it's got to stand on radio with other modern songs. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what you want, and that's hopefully what you're gonna hear.
So have you got a timeline in terms of when you want this to be released by, when people will start hearing those first Silveroller songs, whether that be an initial song or?
Are we allowed to say? Are we allowed to say this?
No, very, very soon.
Yeah, soon, yeah.
On the first single, but it is a very tight turnaround, so it will be coming out really soon.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on the first single off the top of my head. I'm not sure on how quickly they want to follow up with singles. So like after the first single's out, I'm not sure how quickly then they want to follow up the second single and then album and all that. I'm not actually too sure, to be honest. But it will be out, I would imagine, by autumn. It will be out, I'd hope. I think
the whole thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
It's the music industry. One thing, it's back.
I don't want to make promises we can't keep.
Yeah, hurry up and wait.
Yeah, it is a hurry up and wait, man. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, there's definitely music coming soon, man. Yeah.
We'll keep an eyes and ears out for it then, lads. Sonically, though, musically, is it much different departure-wise in sound from the stuff you're releasing under the Keylock moniker, or is it very much the same? But
I think that
it's just more mature. Like I feel like we found ourselves a lot more.
Cool.
Like Shine and Coming Home, which obviously the two songs we released under Keylock, was like the first songs me and Jonnie wrote pretty much when we met for the first time. Like, and obviously the development, you bring people in, and obviously they grow on the road. Like, but I feel like now we've had a lot more time of songwriting, and it's kind of like when we first started writing, it was like you throw out 99% and you keep 1%, and then by now it's probably like you throw out like 90% and keep 10% or something. Do you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like I'd say just stronger songs with more identity. It's kind of the thing as well. Like I feel like when you first start writing and you first start playing, you obviously have your influences on your sleeve.
Yeah.
And then as you kind of go on a little bit more, you can kind of get the personality out a lot more. Me and Jonnie are trusting each other obviously a lot more as songwriters, opening up a lot more to each other. So there's that kind of just human thing, maturing.
Yeah.
So
nice, isn't it? And I think what's interesting as well about the tracks that we recorded is some of them, like one of the songs was literally the last song that we wrote together, and some of the other stuff has been around for quite a while, hasn't it? Which is quite cool, I think, because then you've got that kind of the journey of the music, and then you know, as you say, as people come in and kind of throw, oh, what about we change this arrangement or whatever. So yeah, no, it's an interesting little mix of tunes, I think. And I think it sits nicely together as well, and yeah, proud of it so far.
So you're saying some of those ones go way back. How far back are we talking?
Oh,
I don't know what it is.
There's a couple of them certainly off the top of my head that I mean, there's some of them that I like. One of the tunes I wrote the kind of basic verse lyrics and chords to. When I was in college, so what, 5 years ago? And yeah, what are you laughing at? And then come on, there's a couple of it's a real mix. It's a real mix, which is nice.
There's a couple on there that we played on like the launch gig when we did like Camden Assembly launch for Keylock. And then there's ones that were literally like written like a month or two before we were recording.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, we've got these written last minute, we'll just throw them at the label and see what they think, and it was picked. But yeah, I'm happy that we've gone for like a very diverse bunch of songs. You know what I mean? You've kind of got like lots of I feel like it's a journey listening through it. It's kind of the things you can take away from like those great album bands back in the day of like whether it be like Exile on Main Street or like Dark Side of the Moon or something like that, where it's like an actual journey through the album. And it's those albums you got, I couldn't not listen to it in the order it is. I feel like that's kind of an influence on this. We were trying to capture.
I'm so glad you said Exile on Main Street there, mate. That's one of my all-time favorite albums. Love that era.
It is regularly spun in the car or whatever we're doing. It's one of those soundtrack records for us, I think.
I realized recently as well, like the albums around it, as amazing as they are, you can tell that the Stones knew they were like a pop songwriting hit band, that were the best rock and roll band in the world. But like when they made Exile, it was pretty much just almost Keith's album going in and doing what he wanted. And you can hear that because I think there's like obviously like Tumbling Dice and stuff, but other than that, there's a lot of like B-sides, you know. So yeah, I think it's cool for that, just to hear Keith doing what he wants to do at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
A slice of Keith Richards' mind. That's terrifying, isn't it? Like that's genuinely quite scary, but it's beautiful at the same time.
It is genuinely terrifying and amazing, definitely. So that for while we're talking about that side of things, what were those first few albums that really grabbed you guys individually, that made you, Jonnie, want to sing, which made you want to pick up guitar? And what was those first few albums that we went, fuck, I've got to be part of this?
You know what? For me, it wasn't necessarily. Although the Sweet's greatest hits when I was about 6 kind of turned me on to guitar orientated music. I don't think music had really been something that I'd majorly taken much notice of, as in like pop music that was around when I was a kid. And my dad bought a cassette of the Sweet at a car boot sale when we were on holiday, and I was fascinated with it, like the harmonies and the guitars. And then I kind of graduated from the Sweet to Queen.
It's a natural progression. I can see how that happened.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? It was I was a huge Queen fan, and Queen toured in 2005 with Paul Rodgers, and I saw them at the MEN Arena, and that was the real moment that I went, I don't know what that fella has, but I would like a slice of it, because my goodness me. And then I went and found kind of a lot of blues and soul through him, and then kind of came, pardon the pun, but into the outdoor of like I went back and then came back on myself. So I kind of went and found like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and Elmo James and John Lee Hooker and all these guys. And then and kind of then from there, like Otis Redding and Sam Cooke and people like that. And then I came back through, well, who did this influence? And then it was like back to the Stones and Zeppelin and and with good heaps of like, you know, free and bad company on the way, and that was kind of my moment really. I think was seeing Paul Rodgers. That was the moment that I was like, that chap down there, he's got it, and I want a little bit of it.
A bit of it.
I'd say similar but very different. Well, no, pretty similar. But like, so I was brought up on well, a lot of different stuff. But like, I guess the stuff that kind of grabbed me was like Georgia Satellites, but then also like New York Dolls, which then threw me into like wanting to play guitar. And then I kind of forgot about all that. And from a guitar teacher, I like really got into BB King. And then obviously you get through all the blues guys, and everybody does that kind of, you know, the blues guys all have their own sort of style and their own thing that you can kind of take from, and you can kind of go, oh, that's that kind of thing, that's that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I went through that journey and became obsessed with that. And I never really associated the rock and roll thing, or especially the glam rock and roll thing, with like blues or anything. And blues was kind of what I went to. And then I went to see the Black Crowes at Brixton Academy, and I kind of went, oh shit, that's kind of like blues, but with like really loud guitars. And then that kind of like threw me on that, and that was kind of like the atmosphere and the people and the gig. And so then I kind of just went on the journey of that. I just started just playing live and just doing it without really thinking, as you do as a kid. Don't overthink it. You don't care what you look like, and you just do it. And I'm still doing it.
Yeah, you really are. Yeah. You know what, man? For me, I'm very much drawn to if I believe what the singer's singing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds daft, but like, I think that's probably why I'm drawn to the blues and soul guys. Is that like it's honest? Do you know what I mean? And I'm really into that, and it's same in a strange way. While I really like some Elton John, like quite a bit of Elton John stuff, especially the 70s stuff.
Oh, you know, the beach is back, all that kind of thing. And goodbye.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, and that's the mad thing. Like, I believe when he sing, like, Indian Sunset is probably my favorite Elton song. It's beautiful, man. And it's like, I know that you're not, you know, a Native American running away from white people. I know you're not that. But I believe it when you're singing it to me. Do you know what I mean? Like that, like you're there singing away, and I'm thinking, oh, right on, man, yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The honesty. But I'm totally with you, Mr. Keylock, about BB King, man. Christ.
It is that, and it's kind of thing like now I feel like you can tell when people have, it's not necessarily about eras or going, oh, you know, I believe in this era or this era. It's like music is timeless.
Yeah,
and you hear people go, oh, whether this band, you kind of go, yeah, but the history before that has made them become that. And it's very true up till now. I just feel like honesty is the key in music, and you can tell when it's there and when it's not, and when somebody means what they're saying. And that's kind of all I look for, you know.
Mate, do you remember when we sat down and watched the Black Crowes documentary in your house ages ago? Chris Robinson said something like, "We just want to be part of the song, like that kind of thing that has been happening. That, you know, it came from those guys in Mississippi, and then it was taken by people like the Stones and the Beatles and stuff like that, and then it went from like the Stones and the Beatles to people like Aerosmith, and we just want to be part of that." Well, I kind of feel like extending that is like, that's what I want to be part of. Do you know what I mean? That kind of, that thing where like
one big note that's been going on for the whole of time, and you're just a very small piece of a note. Yeah.
And that's it though, and it like is that kind of that story, that kind of, the roots music is still there. It might not be massively apparent, but it's still represented in the music. And I want to be part of that. You know what I mean? I just want to carry that baton forward. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. I just want to carry that baton forward a little bit further than it currently is.
I think it's a fine place to be, mate. I mean, you know, you mentioned Aerosmith there, and like that was the first gig I ever went to. My dad took me to see Aerosmith. I was 11 years old. Got dragged to Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley, because I'm old.
What year was that? Was that when the Toxic Bull?
Yeah, Toxic Twin Tower Bull. That was it. That was my very first gig. So you had Aerosmith headline in it, Lenny Kravitz, Black Crowes, Stereophonics, and Three Colors Red, and that was my first gig. It was like insane.
Jesus Christ. That's a good intro to music. When I saw Aerosmith at Download a few years back, man, and they blew me head off. Like, I couldn't believe how good these old fellas on stage were. Like, it was ridiculous.
This is it. You know, Joe Perry still rips his shirt off, and you go, "What the fuck, man? That's not fair."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I shave my chest, I'd look just like that.
Yeah, there's times when I'll turn around when you're playing, and is that Joe Perry? No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's just Aaron.
Yeah,
Just hang a cigarette from your mouth, Aaron, you'll be fine.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the suite though, the Jonnie, because like I never really got the suite until I saw him live. Like I knew, and that, funny enough, the first time I saw him live was only in recent years. Only when I saw you guys as well, actually at Winners End Festival when they were playing. And it was that thing where I knew the hits, you know, and I thought I'll go watch a suite, that'll be fun. And stood there watching it, and I kept going, "Oh, hang on, I forgot that was the suite. I forgot."
Yeah,
Isn't Def Leppard? That's a sweet song.
yeah,
oh, yeah, that's a sweet as well. And I just knew the whole set. I didn't even realize I
yeah.
didn't know the whole
Well,
set.
you know what, man? We were on the like on the balcony watching this week because it was funny for me because it kind of came almost full circle. Do you know what I mean? Like these guys kind of, and I actually got to say to I was like, you know what, man? I know you probably get this a lot, but I can't not take this opportunity to go. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Do you know what I mean? So thanks very much. It's, you know, pay me dues now. And then we were on the balcony doing the same thing, just like, what a great night of rock and roll that was. Do you know what I mean? Like we were just up there going, this is great. You know what I mean? Like look at everyone's like,
Everyone was singing along. Everybody was in that
yeah,
pop. And it was great. I saw
yeah.
so many people afterwards. Like, well, I ended up interviewing Andy shortly afterwards. I put my own festival on this way called Just Push Play, and one of the rock people management guys who I know was over there, and I got chatting to Heidi at the bar, and it was just shortly after Sweet finished playing. She said, "What do you make of that?" And I said, "Look, Heidi, I got to be honest. Like, I went there with like, I'll know the hits, it'll be a laugh kind of attitude." I said, "But that genuinely was one of the best things I've said. Like, it was amazing."
Yeah,
Incredible. And she was
yeah.
chatting to another couple of people, one of which I didn't realize was the Sweets manager. Who said that? He went, "I'm really glad you said it that way round, mate." And I went, "Why?" And he went, "I'm their manager." And I was like, "Right." I enjoyed it.
You know what as well, man? Like, they were responsible for an earworm that lasted about 18 months. For me, I got a real thing with little earworms. I couldn't stop singing New York Groove for about. I was driving the boys mad. They're like, "Shut up!" Stop singing that song, because I'm back in the New York Groove. You know, oh man, it's great, wasn't it? It's such a good show.
Such a great show. Like you say, all those hooks, it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And now, you know, they've gone from a band after seeing them live, from a band that maybe if I hadn't been at the festival, I might not have made the effort to go see them. But I was there, I watched them, I had a bloody good time. And since then, anytime they come around, I've been fortunate enough to have Andy on the show for an interview a few times now. And he's a fucking sound bloke. He really is absolutely top. But no,
great hair as well. I'm going to put that out there. That man's got a great head of hair.
Oh, he has. He's got better hair than me, and he's like 40 years older than me. It's just not fair.
What is it about guitar players, man? Joe Perry. Like, you know.
You're going to be all right, Aaron.
He says it's chin and a glass of wine. Yes, brother.
So how far do you guys back? How did you meet? Because I don't know. So how you guys met? How you found each other?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I went to see The Answer.
Oh, nice.
Quite a few years ago. Love Cormac Neeson's voice. Great singer. And Aaron was opening, and then
that was the first time I saw Aaron on that tour.
Yeah, where did you see him?
I was in Norwich.
No, I did.
Did you Norwich?
100 Club of Borderline. We did 2 London shows and a Manchester show.
Hang on, I'm getting the 2 Answer tours mixed up now because I saw Scam supporting The Answer in Norwich, and then I saw you. That was at the Borderline. You all right? Was at the Borderline on that tour?
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what it was. I was still drinking at the time, and I was good and full of liquor. And I went over to Aaron after the show and kind of went, "Come on in, who are you into?" And Aaron said,
Paul Rogers, Otis Redding, and Muddy Waters.
And I thought me and him could be mates.
I'm glad I said those 3 as well.
Yeah, then I think the last person you said was Muddy Waters, like you said there, and because I started singing 40 Days and 40 Nights at you really loud.
Really loud.
40 days and 40 nights. And I think really you should have gone this guy's a stick short of the bundle. I'm going to avoid him forever. And then no, you contacted me, didn't you, asking if I knew any singers looking for a jam? And I was like, yeah, me. And then yeah, we started. You came up to Liverpool, didn't you?
Yeah, did a jam, just played
And
some
we,
blues.
yeah, which is a great place to start. You know what I mean? I think if you can kind of play blues together and bounce off each other and kind of have that conversation musically, it's a hell of a good place to start. And then we both kind of went, oh, wonder if we can write some songs together. So we went and booked the cheapest hotel in the country at the time, which was in Wassel.
Awesome.
And it was miles away from anywhere. The nearest pub was about an hour and a half walk. So we'd walk every day, yeah. So we did. We booked a hotel for the weekend with a kind of like, well, we'll see what happens. And immediately went and got drunk together, had a fine old time, and then went back to the hotel and wrote songs till the sun came up.
Yeah.
And we kind of went, oh, this kind of works, doesn't it? And then we kind of kept writing and kind of went, right, let's put a band around it. And we went from there, really, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's been a journey.
Yeah,
You know, a
Johnny.
lot of coaches, a lot of sleeping on floors.
Lots of sleeping on floors, yeah. Yeah, the first studio that we used to rehearse in was in Hastings,
No.
St Leonard's. And we used to kind of do like a twice monthly thing where like we'd all go down. I used to get the 5 o'clock in the morning megabus down to London. And then Aaron would pick me up in Tunbridge Wells and we'd drive down there and we'd write and jam all day, and then we'd sleep on the studio floor, and then we'll go back to work Monday morning.
It's like Joe, like up in Newcastle, like overnight bus, like bus getting like 10 p.m, play till like 5 in the morning. Sleeping on the floor next to Marshall Stacks in the freezing cold and get up and do it again. But I feel like again, like that kind of stuff about it, honesty, it's kind of, you can tell when a band's done that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when a band's been at their lowest personally together and been tired and angry and, you know, worn out with music and everything, and put in the work and done the songs whilst they're tired, you can tell.
Definitely comes through.
So yeah.
You can always spot someone who hasn't had to, like you say, play to, you know, one man and a dog, and the dog's having a shit sort of thing. You can always tell no one has played those, or just been like jumped in on it. So yeah, I think you're right. I think does need to be a certain, goes back to being the honesty thing. You know what I mean? Especially if you're doing something full of energy, it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the music knows, but also kind of like, if you're going to survive together as like 5 guys going against the world, then you got to go through that. You know, we've had the days of cutting, like having holes in the van floor,
very big holes
on the floor, and getting each other out of very sticky situations. You know, so
yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and so yeah, we did that for quite a while, didn't we? And then lockdown kind of changed the way we worked a little bit, and it's a lot of moving around. I think what's quite cool about this band for me is it's not like a band of guys that we all knew each other beforehand, and we're all mates, and none of us really knew each other beforehand, and because there's no fixed abode, we don't have a hometown. Like we're not like a local band in a hometown kind of thing.
Yeah,
like you've got to move around quite a lot, and I think that kind of sparks creativity. I think anyway, is the fact that, you know, me and him will get together and start bashing out ideas. It may be in my flat up in Liverpool, or we'll be down somewhere in Oxfordshire, or, you know, we meet in London, and then you take it to the band somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? And then the songs kind of move around with you, and it's this thing that you kind of take around, and then they mold, and then you get to, like, you know, you're doing a record and pre-production changes it again. And to be fair, we did pre-production in an amazing little studio. Yeah, so I find that quite cool. Do you know what I mean? Is that we don't have a kind of fixed address. Like we say we operate out of London because that tends to be where we do most of our thing in it. So we're kind of a quote unquote London band, but we're not really at the same time, because obviously I'm not from there, neither is he, neither is anyone. Do you know what I mean? So I like the way the music moves around with us. So like it's like this little traveling circus of freaks making this sound, you know. reeking of patchouli and other stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
Sign of a good band, patchouli oil, mate.
I think so, man. Yeah, yeah.
So for those of haven't kept in touch with you guys, such, who else is in the band as it stands other than yourselves?
We have a guy called Ross Monroe on organ and keys and many other things on the record as well. What was the big electric xylophone thing he's playing, man?
Vibraphone.
Vibraphone, man. Yeah.
Saxophone.
He's one of those like uber talented people who could like, he'll just look at something and get a tune out of it. It's like, so very jealous of him. He's a cool cat, So yeah, Ross Monroe on keys and organ and vibraphone and backing vocals, saxophone. Yeah, like he can really play sax. And Joe Major on the drums, who again is extremely talented. He's been the ever present, Annie Joe. Yeah. Good ear for arrangement and stuff. So yeah, and isn't scared to kind of go, I've heard you say that kind of thing before. change that lyric, and I'm like, oh.
Kind of just nice for somebody to organize me and Jonnie as in there, like.
yeah. Well, we're off kind of making all these sounds. Yeah. No, let's just calm down for a minute. Yeah. Yeah, he's great with that. Yeah. And Aaron on guitar.
It's good of you to introduce Aaron at that point.
Yeah, he's all right. He's not bad. Aaron Keylock, owner of many guitars. Yeah, man.
Ever growing.
Yeah. Didn't you just buy a National Steel?
No, I need to buy one for EP2.
Yeah, you do. You do. Just borrow one off Tyler, man. I'm sure he'll be fine. What is it, 28 or something? I'm sure he'll lend you that.
Why buy when you can borrow?
Yeah. If there's more than 3, there's one for me if no one's looking.
I like that.
Can you tell where he's from?
Whoa there. Don't let my bad habits, spoil an entire city of people.
So what's the rest of the year hang out for you guys? And other than you got any live shows planned or anything?
There's a couple of things in the pipeline, isn't there? But yeah, I mean, we just want to. I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you because we've spoken about it regularly. But I want to play. I am so very excited to get on stage and nearly take his head off with a mic stand and all the rest of it. I'm very much looking forward to getting out and playing live.
When's the last time you guys played?
Whoa.
August.
No. We played in Manchester, man.
That was August.
August? In Manchester? Yeah. Is that August, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago, yeah.
And we got busy, right, and pre-production and recording.
Yeah.
And now it's just the time to go out and play again. So
yeah. Well, we've had that stencil made, haven't we, for all the flight cases, so we better use it.
It just goes to waste otherwise, Jonnie. You got to use it.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
If anyone's listening who fans of you guys from the Keylock days and other projects, are interested, excited by, Silveroller, what would you say to them in terms of trying what you guys got coming up?
If you like rock and roll, get involved. If you want honest rock and roll, give us a listen. And if you don't like it, cool. Listen to someone else.
Once again, I feel like Jonnie said it all.
Goes back to that honesty, doesn't it, that we were talking about?
Yeah, if it makes you feel good, listen to it. Yeah. If it doesn't, don't.
Yeah. There's too much. There's too much sort of things at the minute, isn't there? Of, music is subjective, art is subjective, and things are going to be for some people, not for others. And the amount of people get say things, well, you're right about music, or you're wrong about music, and there's no right or wrong. And like you say, it's whatever turns you on, it's whatever gets you going.
Yeah. I'd agree to that to an extent.
Yeah, there's certain things that just they're just not cool for.
Yeah.
But I'm not classing them as music, so they don't really count in that category. So
yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah.
On the same side,
give it a spin, man. Just give us a spin.
On the same side of the coin, I can't stand it when people say, "I just listen to whatever's on the radio," and I think, "Oh no."
Yeah.
You just listen to whatever's pumped at you. Go look for something, whether it be something that I don't like or something I do like. Just go look for whatever you actually like, not what you're getting
I
fed
think, to be
into.
honest, the kind of I'll just listen to whatever's on the radio. The same people that think instant coffee is as good as like real coffee.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not. It's not. It's not. No, it's not. And yeah, on that note, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. So thanks for your time, dudes. Appreciate it. At the beginning of the interview, as I say, I'm gonna play Shine on Me with you not having any music on the Silveroller moniker yet. Although as soon as that's out, we will of course play it on the radio show. But we'll play Shine on Me at the beginning of this interview. And what song did you guys want again at the end that you picked?
Is it Payback's a Bitch by Blackberry Smoke?
I'm going with that, definitely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for your time again, dudes, and speak to you soon, no doubt. And yeah, hopefully see you on the road soon, boys.
Thank you.
Man. You're the gents.
No problem.